Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. Let's have a look at Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, and then we'll do a 7-star level 120 review of Tidus. And then the scene that we just saw there before the video, that was from Final Fantasy X2, which I think is a very underrated game. I don't like a lot of it, like the music or the story or the world or whatever, but the job system of that game I think maybe is the best job system of any Final Fantasy game, including tactics. If you haven't tried it out, I can highly recommend it. And then one of my favorite characters, Pine, she is in there. I hope someday she makes it into Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. I do like Tidus as a character in Brave Exvius. I used him a bit as a 6-star, and then not in the way that most people used him. I think most people used him as a chainer to do damage. I really liked him as a support character. But before we get any further into Tidus' review, you might be wondering why I am doing a review of him now. And then I am a free-to-play player, and we had that big, like 6-part Awakening batch of all of the legacy characters in Global. And then once that ended, the number of 7-stars that I got that were very current really went down. So like the last one I think I did was maybe Sophia, the 7-star. I was really lucky and I got her when I did that step up. But since then, I haven't gotten the 7-stars of the latest and greatest characters. And that's just a side effect of being a free-to-play player. So instead I might go back and look at old characters, or I might look at characters that recently got buffs. I would like to do a review of Bosch. He recently got some buffs. But yeah, let me know what you think of this review of this old character. But even though Tidus is an old character, and really nobody uses him anymore except for super niche situations, he might shine a little bit this year. Because Tidus, he specializes in water, and then there will be some characters that come out later this year that also specialize in water. And then I think some of the bosses as well, water will work well with them. So although Tidus is going to be kind of overshadowed by the characters coming later, it's best not to forget him. He might have good synergy with him, or if you don't get those new characters, you could maybe use Tidus instead. But yeah, there are a few reasons why nobody uses Tidus or talks about him anymore. A lot of things just went against him. One thing is that his chaining, like the way you do his chaining, was kind of messed up. So I'm not sure on the details, but like on iOS or something, it's no longer possible, or you need emulators or something, I don't know. But nobody uses him for chaining anymore. Furthermore, his fixed dice, he's really good with fixed dice. The fixed dice is going to get a nerf later, so it won't do as much damage in future trials. That's another knock against Tidus. Another thing about him is that his 7-star form was very delayed. It even came after Hyul's release. And then, once Hyul was released, everybody just used him as their chainer and just forgot about Tidus. So, and then finally, people were hoping that as like a global buff, Tidus would get like an always-on dual cast. He did not get that when he became a 7-star. It's still locked behind another skill, same as JP. So yeah, all of those things together, put together, really killed Tidus for a lot of people. And yeah, he might need a new CG version more than many of the other main characters. But anyway, first let's talk about Tidus as a damage dealer. And then for weapons, he has some options. He has his Trustmaster, of course, that's the Brotherhood. This is a really good Trustmaster. And then even if you have no intention of using Tidus, I can still recommend that you get this. It's a sword, pretty high attack with the water element. And then lots of characters like this. Probably the one that I am most interested in is Roberta. She can dual wield, so on one hand she wants to use a Trustmaster, the Crimson Blood I think it is. And then the other hand she can use Brotherhood. And then she can get the water element for her jumps. And also get a nice attack, and then, be able to use other materia which have passives that work with swords. But if Tida equips this, we'll look at his trust ability. He gets 100% double hand, not true double hand, but double hand. Some Slayer damage, and then upgrades his limit break damage. All of these things, actually, none of them are necessary. So if you did not use this Trustmaster on Tida, he would still be perfectly usable. But let's equip him just for a pure attacker, and then see what kind of attack we can get with him. So he has the 100% double hand from using Brotherhood, so he only needs another 200%. So we'll give him some martial gloves, and then Buster style. And then that's it. We've hit the max of 300% double hand. So the rest of it, we can just give him Slayers or just general attack. We'll give him Chosen One. This works with the sword and then the light armor. That'll be 50% attack. And then I guess one other 40% attack. There's one. Okay, so yeah, 2200. He's not totally potted up either, but that's pretty good for a attacker. Another option you could do, you could give him the fixed dice. So let's do that. Of course, his attack will be much lower, but then he has the multiplier. And then since it is not a sword, we can give him a different attacking thing. We'll just give him this one. Okay. So yeah, 1300 with fixed dice. That's actually kind of high. So yeah, that's pretty good. And then I would say the last option you could do with him is to give him a two-handed weapon. So we'll just give him a Lionheart here, two-handed greatsword. He can use all bladed weapons and then throwing weapons. So probably the Lionheart or Cloud's Ultima weapon would be the best weapons here. And then let's see. Here, actually, also this applies to fixed dice. He doesn't get the 100% double hand, so we need to make up that 100% elsewhere. So let's get rid of this. Let's give him Hero's Vow Win. That'll be 50% true double hand there. And then, let's see. Dark Knight's Knowledge, another 50%, so we'll hit the max 300. And then also give him 30% attack. And then here, let's give him Large Sword Mastery just for another 10%. And okay, actually, instead of Rider's Armor, let's give him Huel's Clothes for 30% attack. And almost hitting 2000 attack. I think we could get it if we potted him up. Maybe a different Esper. This one. No, that went down. But anyway, you get the idea. So yeah, those would be the three maybe options that I would consider using to equip him. But if we look at his main chaining move, which is Quick Hit, this has a pretty high multiplier if you enhance it. I think it goes up to like 12 times, which is pretty crazy. The thing about Quick Hit, though, is that, as I said before, it doesn't really chain anymore. It'll work fine if you single cast it, but nobody wants to single cast a chaining skill. Tida, he does have the ability to double or triple cast it, but it's pretty much always going to break. So yeah, it's not going to be a great damage source. And then actually I looked at other characters with Quick Hit, and then even in a JP. The last character to get Quick Hit chaining frames was Carlot, who we just got in Global. So there's going to be no more characters in the future with Quick Hit. So that's kind of the end of that. And then I was thinking maybe you could use Tida as a support chainer. You know, use him with Quick Hit, use another like support character with Quick Hit, and then pair them with a finisher. And then, like with Sid, for example, get that Quick Hit chain out, and then finish the chain with, you know, Sid with his time to jump. But, you know, I was looking at all the other units with quick hit. Tita is kind of the best support character with the quick hit chain frames. So unless there's like a future global exclusive character with quick hit chain frames that is also a good like support character, I think you might be better off just giving Tita a pod and then chaining with Mirage, either another pod or like Zargabath or Prompto or somebody with those kind of frames. So yeah, in conclusion, I would actually just say forget about quick hit completely. If you did want to use Tita as a damage dealer, however, I would recommend Eject Shot too. This is a single hit skill. It can also be double or triple cast. And then you could use this to, if you're using the water element, you could finish like flood chains, you know, or something like that. And then there are lots of characters with flood chains. There's the two types of Nicole. There's Duke from the same game. If you upgrade her, what is it, Tidal Wave attack, I think it is. We'll look at the damage later for Eject Shot too. But yeah, comparing this to like Sid or Balthier or Regina, who's coming up later, yeah, it might not hold up very well looking into the future. I kind of wish actually that Tita had the Flood magic spell, because that would make him a fine chainer, and then it would have great synergy with the rest of his kit, but oh well. Okay, then next we'll look at his Limit Break. This came in very handy when I was using Tita as a support character in Gilgamesh when I got that clear. It does some damage, which we don't really care about, and then it will do a Water Imperil. At level 1 it will do 75%, at level 30 it will do 100%, which is pretty darn good. And it can be one of the main reasons to want to use Tita. Eject Shot 2, it does do a 65% Imperil. So if that is enough for you, then you could save Tita's Limit Break crystals and then use the Entrust skill instead, which is one of the best skills in the game, I would say. But yeah, that is a quick look at Tita as a damage dealer. And then he has some pretty big weaknesses. His chain skill doesn't really chain. His MP cost is really high for his abilities. And then he doesn't have any innate like refresh or anything. So you're going to, oh yes he does actually. But his skill cost is so high that you're really going to want like some outside support for his MP stuff. And then also, even though I would say his best attacking skill is the Eject Shot 2, recent quests, I mean you look at like Gilgamesh or Ashura, who have 150 million HP, it's not going to be enough, even if you're finishing Flood Chains, I would say. But what saves Tita, and then the reason why I'm doing this review at all, is looking at him as a support character. And that was how I mainly used him as a 6-star. And then actually as a 7-star it hasn't changed very much. He just has like more stats. He has a 30% innate evade, which is pretty great. So it's pretty easy to get him to 100%. And then you could use him as a provoke evade tank. And then this ability here, Tackle Slip, you can upgrade this so that he also gets magic evade and then some counterattacks for physical attacks. I'm wondering if I regret upgrading this, because even if you upgrade it, it doesn't add to the 30% evade, but it does add the counterattacks. And then sometimes you don't want to counterattack. Like Gilgamesh and Ashura, actually, those are good examples where you don't want to counterattack. Like I said before, he has the Water Imperils, either 65 or 100, whether using Eject Shot 2 or his Limit Break. And then here, Blitzmania, he can give your entire party 100% water resistance. This is one of my favorite skills of any character, is to be able to give the elemental resistance. Because if like the majority of the magic damage coming your way, or even physical damage, is that element, you can get away without using a magic tank. Just give everybody, you know, a ton of water resistance. They get hit by the attack and they take no damage. And so that can save you a slot in your party. And then looking ahead at the rest of this year, we're going to get a couple of summer themed units. One is Bikini, Lid, and Fina. One is Bikini, Citra, and Folka. And they have some things in common. I think Tida, his most direct competition as a support character, is going to be Bikini, Lid, and Fina. They do something similarly. They both imperil water. They both give the water resistance. As a total package, I would say, of course, that Bikini, Lid, and Fina, they are better. They can also do breaks. They can imbue other characters with water. They can even give chaining skills to your other characters. But yeah, they're really kind of one of the best characters in the game. And even looking at the top character rankings in JP, they're still up there. So if you do pull the Bikini, Lid, and Fina, I would say just put away Tida. But if you don't pull them, or you're wanting to use like somebody until they come out, Tida can be a good guy for that role. And then real quick, we can look at his skills that you can upgrade. One is Quick Hit. Again, I would say ignore this skill completely. It's just not any good anymore in the meta. Tackle Slip, this is up to you. Doing counters can be good in some cases. If you want to get like Limit Break Crystals or Esper Orbs. Other cases it cannot be good because it might set off a boss's counterattacks. I'll leave this one up to you. There's Suncrest, which boosts his attack. I don't know if he needs this either, since we're not using him for damage. And then finally is Get Pumped. This will upgrade the percentage that he can buff your guys, but it's a buff that's less than 100%, even if you enhance it, so I would skip this as well. Okay, finally, let's head to the dummy. And then let's see how his chaining works, and then also maybe the damage from Eject Shot too. Okay, so here we are in the dummy. First, let's just chain one quick hit. Let's see, I think it's this one. Let's try that. Okay, so no problem there, 20 chain. If in the future we get a support character with quick hit frames, that will really kind of extend the life of this ability for Tida. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. Alright, next, let's try to do the dual cast. And then, yeah, again, Tida, he does not have innate dual cast, so we have to do delay attack. But delay attack itself is an attack. So you could possibly use this as a finishing ability, maybe like a mini finishing ability. But yeah. Okay, so now we have the dual cast. Let's do that with that. We'll do the same with Kurasame. And let's see if I can make this chain perfectly. No. No. Okay. That was awful. Alright. And yeah, as we can see, Tida's MP is getting very, very low already, so yeah. He needs a lot of support to chain, and then he can really only do the single chain very consistently. Okay, so next let's look at the damage from Eject Shot 2. Tida's attack is about 2200. I'm giving him Brotherhood, and then no Slayers. So first let's use his Limit Break. We will break, or we'll imperil the dummy's water resistance. Okay, very good. And then Tida's Limit Break is at level 20, so maybe that's like 80, 85 water imperil there. Damage there's 5 million, that's okay. And then first, let's just try a single Eject Shot. Alright, 5 million, that's pretty good. And then next, let's double cast that. So we'll use this. Again, single attack, that's still some decent damage. And then let's dual cast the Eject Shot 2. Hopefully we have enough MP. Okay, 6 million, 6 million. Alright, pretty good. But moving ahead, I don't know how viable this is going to be as a damage source. Maybe Alexander, but I don't know. But if you compare like this kind of damage to like Leviathan or like Rydia's Mind Flayer Eidolon skill, I don't know if it can compete. So yeah, if you do want to do water finishing, maybe use one of those other two ways. But yeah, I think that will wrap up the look at Tita. He has much more viability now as a support character, dealing specifically with water. And yeah, he might have good synergy with the summer characters that we are getting later, and against some of the bosses that are coming later this year. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.